Hello and welcome to the Ness Smartbell, the IP intercom solution that allows you to turn your smartphone into an intercom. You'll see during this product video, the Ness Smartbell allows you to turn your smartphone into an intercom. It will communicate either using Wi-Fi while you're at home, or you can connect using 3G or 4G while you're at work or while you're out shopping. Therefore, no matter where you are, you'll always be in contact with the visitor visiting you. We'll now look at some of the components that make up the Ness Smartbell system. First of all, there is two door stations. There's a flush mount or there's a surface mount. They both have PoE for data and powering up from the eGateway, which is the brains of the system. The eGateway will make all the decisions. When a visitor pushes the doorbell, it'll ring your smartphones. There are two touchscreens or hardwired touchscreens that you can have on the system. There's a 10-inch touchscreen and there's also a 9-inch touchscreen. They both power up with PoE power off the eGateway directly. The 10-inch tablet has a HDMI port which allows you to plug a monitor or a TV so you can view the visitor on the TV. The 9-inch does not have this HDMI port, but it does allow you to run the push app and other apps directly onto this touchscreen. You can use any Apple iOS device such as an iPhone or an iPad, or you can use an Android using a phone, or you can use a tablet. If you're using one door station, you can have a maximum of 9 smartphones or indoor phones connected to this system. Or if you're using 2 door stations, either if it's 2 surface mount or 2 flush mount or one of both, you can only have a maximum of 8 smartphones or indoor phones connected to the system. Or you could use no door stations, but you could have up to 10 smartphones or indoor phones connected to the eGateway at one time. The eGateway, which is the brains of the system, has 2 sides to it. There's the LAN side, which uses the yellow ports on the eGateway, which only allows you to connect the door stations, or you could connect the indoor phones directly into the eGateway. These yellow ports and the indoor phones and also the door stations are not allowed to go onto the customer's network, and they should be only plugged into the yellow ports. The blue port, which is the WAN port, allows you to plug it directly into the customer's router. This makes communication to the smartphones, also to allow you to get in with the programming and to set the system up, and also connects to the Ness M1 or third-party products. And we'll go through in the detail of how to set this up in just a moment. The smartphone app is fairly simple and easy to use. The call extension button allows you to call other extensions such as the front door or the back door, iPads or iPhones or Android devices that have been paired into the eGateway. If we look at the front door and we tap on the front door icon, it will launch up the front door, allowing you to view the visitor at the front door. There's a series of buttons on the right hand side that you can select. The top one allows you to mute the volume coming from the outdoor phone. The unlock button or unlock door button will allow you to unlock the door, allow the visitor to come through the door. The hang up button will simply end the call, so you're no longer in communication with the person at the front door. Or that bottom icon will allow you to mute your microphone on your smart device so the person at the front door can't hear you no more. If you were to ring another extension such as an iPhone or an iPad or even an Android device, or it could be an indoor phone, then you can tap on the logo to call that extension. You'll then see the following screen, which is now making the call to that device. The receiving end will get to see this screen on the screen come up, and that'll allow you to answer or reject the call. Once you're in the call and you're talking to the other person, you will then see this screen allowing you to hang up the phone once you're finished making that call to that person. If you push the back button down the bottom right hand corner, it'll go back one screen, back to the main page. Visitor pictures. Visitor pictures allows you to view the visitors that have come to your front door. It'll take a series of 5 images every time the front door is pressed. The back and forward buttons will allow you to cycle through these images to see the images that are actually stored on your smart device. The little red cross there will actually delete the images from your smart device. All the images are actually stored on your smart device and not on the eGateway itself. Pressing the home button will return back to the main page. The smart home button. The smart home button will allow you to launch the push controls app within the Smartbell app, allowing you to control your AV products. You will need to program a URL scheme to be able to return back to the Ness Smartbell app. If you don't have the app installed, it'll come up saying the receiver is not found. This means that the app is not actually on your device, and you'll need to install the push controls app to be able to open it up. Within the push project editor, you must have a home page called Home. This is the page that gets launched when you launch it from the Smartbell app. So you may have a app. When you open up the push controls app, it loads up a different GUI to what it does when you launch it from the Smartbell app. And this is the page that it looks for. The monitor button. The monitor button will allow you to monitor the front door station. Once again, up the top right hand corner, that's to mute this sound coming from the outdoor phone. The unlock door button will simply unlock the door to allow the person through the door. The hang up button will simply end the monitoring of this call. And the bottom icon, which will be muted automatically when you're in monitor mode, which will mute your microphone. You need to push that to be able to start talking to the person at the front door, as monitor mode will be a discrete monitoring of the front door, so the person can't actually hear you or know that you're monitoring and listening into the call. But let's just say now that you have somebody that rings the doorbell. If you have the app open on the screen, it'll automatically launch a image and it'll also allow you to take some snapshots, etc. If the app is not open, a push notification will come up on the screen allowing you to launch the app. This screen will then appear. It will allow you to take a snapshot and store it on your device of the front door. The unlock door button will simply unlock the door to allow the visitor through the door if you know who it is. The answer button will allow you to answer the incoming call from the front door station and allow you to communicate and talk to the person at the door. And the speaker will just simply stop the ringtone from ringing. The settings button down the bottom right hand corner. That allows you to do some changes to the app, such as the ringtone settings. You can tap on a ringtone from in the app and it'll start playing the tune as a preview. This is so that you can tell the difference between your smartphone from ringing to the intercom ringing. Select the ringtone that you wish to use and click on the Set Ringtone button. Clicking on the Return button will simply return back to the settings page. The background settings. The background settings allows you to change the backgrounds to the app. So you can choose a different background that you wish to use, then click on Set Background and it will change the background for you. The registration message. The registration message screen allows you to register your smartphone into the eGateway. These settings that you enter in must be paired or already entered into the eGateway. And we'll go through this settings page a little bit more in detail a little bit later on when we're ready to pair our device. Card settings. Card settings allows you to learn in access control cards so you can badge them at the door station to allow you in through the front door. Simply click on the Start Detection button, badge your card at the reader, and then you'll see your cards appear. Then click on the End Detection and the cards will then stop learning in. The Outdoor Phone Volume Settings button. This allows you to change the volume on the door station. Simply slide the bar left or right to change this volume. The Version button. This version button will display the version of the app that you're running and the extension number of your smart device that is being paired into the eGateway. The terminal equipment. This will display a list of all paired devices that have been paired into your eGateway and that are connected to your system. Pressing the Home button down the bottom right hand corner will take you back to the main screen. To set up the eGateway for the very first time, you need to plug your computer directly into LAN 1 on the eGateway. Then you need to change your IP address on your computer. To do this, find the network icon down near your clock and right hand mouse and click on Open Network and Sharing Center. Then find the label that says Local Area Connection and click on that. We need to click on Properties. We then need to click on Internet Protocol version 4 and click on Properties. In here, if you have network settings already entered in, you'll need to write them down on a bit of paper as we'll need them for later on. We need to select Use the following IP address and we need to enter in 192.168.0.5. The last field can be anything you like. It doesn't have to be 5, but it can't be the number 10. The subnet mask, as soon as you click on that, it should automatically start typing it in for you. And once you've entered those two settings in, we click on the OK button. We then click on the Close button and click on the Close button again. Then we can go up to the top right hand corner and close this little dialog window. We're now ready to connect to the eGateway. To do that, we need to open up Internet Explorer or another web browser that you may have installed on your computer. In the URL field, we type in 192.168.0.10. When it asks for your username and password, enter admin as the username and the password is also admin, all lowercase. And then we click on the OK button. In here you will find a whole heap of information in the status view, which is the firmware version, how long the system's been up, etc. But first we need to register our IP address in the eGateway. So to do that, we click on the settings from the left menu and click on LAN. In here we can enter an IP address. This IP address should be an IP address that is not being used already on the customer's network. So in my case, I'll put a 5 in there since that's an IP address that I'm not using. So it should be 192.168.5.10. We need to make sure that the DHCP type is set to a server. The start IP address, if we just click on that field, it should update based on the IP address that we have set. And then we need to scroll down. All the other fields should be set as default, and then we click on apply. The router will now need to reboot for the new settings to take effect, so we click on the OK button. The eGateway is now rebooting, so while it's rebooting we can actually close this browser window now. We need to go back down to our network icon, right hand mouse, and go open Network and Sharing Center. We need to click on the local area connection. We need to click on properties. We need now to click on Internet Protocol version 4 and click properties. In here we need to set it to our LAN's IP address, which in my case I had a 5, so it needs to be 192.168.5. something other than .10, since that's the IP address we're going to connect to. So we click on the OK button, we click the close button again, and we can actually close this window again. Now once the router or the eGateway has rebooted, we click on the internet browser again. We need to type in our IP address of the LAN's IP, so 192.168.5.10. It will then prompt you for a username and password again, so we enter in admin as the username, admin as the password again, and click OK. And now we're logged into the eGateway using the new LAN IP address. But we need now to enter in the WAN IP address, which is the IP address we're normally going to be connecting to. So we click on Settings, and we need to click on WAN. In here, the WAN connection type needs to be set as a static IP, which is a fixed IP. In here, you need to enter in the IP address you want to use on the customer's network. You may need to get in contact with the IT guy or the customer of an IP address that you can actually use. In my case, I'm just going to be using the one I've set in here, so 192.168.0.10, the subnet mask as well. The default gateway, in most cases, it most likely would just be the router's IP address. The primary DNS server, you can get the information from your router, from your ISP, or you can enter in your router's IP address. In most cases that should work as well. And also sometimes you can also put it into the secondary DNS as well. In my case I can. We leave Mac clone to disabled, and we need to click on apply. The router will then need to reboot again, so we click OK, and now the router is rebooting. So we now need to close the web browser. We then need to change our IP address once again, so we need to go down to the network icon, open a network and sharing center, local area connection, we need to click on properties, Internet Protocol version 4, and click on properties. And those settings that we had already entered in, we need to enter them in again, or if they automatically assigned, we can click get an IP address automatically. In my case that's what I'll be doing. We click OK, then we click on the close button, close again, and we can close this dialog window. You now need to plug your computer into the WAN port or into the customer's network, and connect the WAN port onto the customer's network. Now we can open up our web browser, and we can type in our WAN's IP address. The username and password is admin once again, and click OK. And now we're connecting using the WAN IP address. Under the device info, we get the status overview, which is the first page that you get to see when you first connect. You get to know the firmware version that you got, how long the system's been up, what devices are currently connected and registered to the eGateway, a bit of a system overview of what WAN settings we have enabled in our eGateway, the LAN settings, and we also have now a new push notifications section which allows you to test the push notifications to make sure that they're working. Just click on this check button and it'll automatically send a broadcast out to all your Apple devices. The DHCP client list will show you all the devices that are connected using the yellow ports plugged into your eGateway. So your outdoor phone, your indoor phones, all the devices that are connected will show you what their IP addresses are, MAC address, the host name. The system log will show you some system information of when the system was booted up and more for factory use only. The settings. The LAN, which is what we just set, that is the yellow ports. The WAN, which is that blue port that we're connecting through at the moment. The unit pairing, this is where we actually pair our devices in, and we'll come back to this in just a moment. The voice over IP call, which is a special port number that the gateway uses to communicate on. The outdoor unit, we have a back and a front door. The front, we can change the start time and the end time. What that does is the LED on the outdoor phone, this is the time slot when that LED will actually turn on. So if you only want it to come on during a specific time of the day, so you might say between 4 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock in the morning, we want the LEDs to turn on when someone pushes the front door button. The opening time in milliseconds, so in the app how you can open the front door, you might want to say I want to activate the relay on the outdoor phone for 1 second, which is 1000. The ring time in seconds, how long you want the outdoor phone to ring before someone answers the phone. So you might say I want someone to push the button and 90 seconds for it to ring inside. The volume control is the speaker volume. So the speaker on the outdoor phone, how loud you want the volume to be on the outside. And the microphone, how sensitive you want the microphone to be. You might be on a very busy road and find it really hard to hear the person at the front door. So you might want to turn it right up. Or it might be a very quiet area and it's too loud on your smartphone, so you want to turn the microphone volume right down. The third-party integration is a feature that we can actually communicate to the M1 with, or to any other third party that spits out ASCII commands. So with this, we can actually type in the IP address like of an M1, so 192.168.0.251 for an M1. We enter the non-secure port IP, and we can actually enter in the command that we want to send to the M1. So in our case, we might want to make it so when the front door is opening, we want to activate an output. So we want to turn an output number 6 on. You want to pulse number 6 for 5 seconds. We generate the command. We can then copy the command, and then we can paste it. So now when we open the front door, it's going to send that, connect to that IP address on that port number and send this ASCII command to it. You can also do it for the back door opening as well, which obviously you can have 2 outdoor phones. So that's your front door, which is outdoor phone number 1, the back door, which is the other outdoor phone. and then you might have a visitor, front door visitor calling. So if someone pushes the doorbell, we want to connect to this IP address, which is the M1. We want to connect on the M1's port, and we want to activate a light. So we might want to say we want to activate light number 5. You want to pulse that on for 20 seconds, generate the command. We can copy that command and we can paste that. So now when someone rings the front door, it'll connect on that IP address, connect on that port number, and it'll send that ASCII command, which will activate the light. We then click on the apply button, and that'll be applied into the eGateway. Access cards. The access cards allows us to learn in cards just like you can through the app, but you can actually learn it in through the eGateway as well. Port forwarding is not actually used at all, so we won't go into that. System management. System management allows us to select what language we would like to use in our eGateway. The username and password to log in to the eGateway, by default it's admin and admin. We can actually change that. The user settings, we can actually log in as just a user, so they can't access all the settings in the eGateway. So we can actually log in as a user. The default there is user, and the password is also user, and we can change that, so that's what we can give to the end user. The web port settings, which is the port 80 by default. This is a time server that we can enter in. We can actually sync with the host, which is our computer, and it'll sync it and put it into the actual eGateway for you. DNS settings, we can set DNS settings in there. Configuration file. The configuration file allows us to export the configuration from the eGateway and save it onto our computer. We can then import that file that we just exported. We can load factory defaults into the eGateway, or else the outdoor phones and indoor phones. And then we also got an import common settings file as well that we can import. We can then do a certificate update. The certificate update allows us to update the push notification APN certificate. We can enter in our name, which is obviously just Ness, the private key password, which is just intercom light. To import the certificate file, we may send you a certificate file that you can load manually, so you can browse for that file and import that file. Or else we can import it from our server now. So our server URL, we enter in smartbell.ness.com.au. We make sure that's set to enable, and we can click on apply. This will connect and save it to our server. We can manual operation, so we can actually test it to make sure that the certificate file loads in okay, and we can manually trigger it, so we can click on that, and every 10 or 20 days it'll automatically connect to our server and update the certificate file for you. The firmware update allows us to load the new firmware into an eGateway if any new firmware does come out. And the reboot button obviously reboots the eGateway. The unit update allows us to update the firmware in the indoor phone or outdoor phone, etc. And the log level allows us to do a log file on the eGateway. So if something's not happening or not working correctly, we may ask you to run a log file and export the log and send us the log file so we can check it out and find out why something's not working on your device or not working on your eGateway. If we go back under settings and go to unit pairing, we'll now have a look at how we can learn devices in to your eGateway. So to learn your outdoor phone door station into the eGateway, just plug the LAN cable directly into the outdoor port on the eGateway. and then load and wait for this screen to automatically refresh, and it should automatically just appear on the screen. It'll automatically pair into the eGateway, and you won't actually have to change any settings other than the name in just a moment. So it's actually connected already, so we can actually go click on the select button and go edit. We can actually give it a name, so we're going to give it a name called backdoor. The type is automatically set as an outdoor unit, and the subtype is called backdoor. The account and password don't change, leave that as default, as this is what's learnt into the outdoor phone. We've got the MAC address of our device, the IP address that the eGateway is actually given it, and the status is currently connected. So we can actually click on the save button. Then we can go back to our unit pairing screen, and now we've got a name for it called backdoor. To learn in a smart device such as an iPad or an Android device, we need to click on the add button. We then need to click on the select button for that device that we just added and go edit. We need to give it a name, so we can call it an iPad, just a name for your device so you know how to call this extension for later on. The type is set to a smartphone, and an account. An account needs to be the number on the system that you want to give it, between 100 and 109. This can't be the number that's already been used, so the front door station or the back door station that we just added would have been 100. So the next available one is 101. The password, we can give it whatever password we want. I'll just call mine 101 as well. We click the save button. Now in the app, we need to now configure the app so we know exactly what settings to use. So these are the settings that we need to put into the app as well. To add the settings into the app, we click on the Settings app icon from the home screen. We then need to scroll down the list until you see Ness Smartbell, select it, then on the right hand side it'll come up with a whole heap of details. The name is the name of the account that we put in. The password is the password for this account from the pairing screen. The intranet server IP is the WAN IP address of the eGateway, the IP address that we use to log into the eGateway. The internet server IP is your router's external IP address. You can get this by opening up Google and typing in what is my IP, or you can use your Dyn DNS domain name that you use to connect to your router. The server port is meant to be 5060 unless you change this in the web GUI in the eGateway. You enter that port number in there. The monitor view mode is a mode that you can change to change the image size of the door station image that comes to the eGateway from the eGateway. You can make that bigger, smaller or larger. The silent button allows you to turn it on or off to allow you to hear no notifications coming from the eGateway when it rings. This still applies to push notifications, so push notifications still come through. It's just when the app is open, you won't actually hear any sounds coming from the app. So to disable the push notification sounds, you need to go to the push notification section on your phone and disable it. Another quick way of disabling notifications from your phone is to flick the little switch on the side of your iPhone. That'll actually turn all the sounds off completely if you're in a meeting, etc. To add the settings into the Android app, simply open up the Android app and it'll prompt you for the settings. So enter the extension number, which is what you typed into the eGateway, the password that you used in the eGateway for this device. The default server address is your WAN IP address for the eGateway, the IP address that you use to log in to the eGateway. The server address is your external IP address of your router. Once again, you can get this from Google by typing in what is my IP. or it could be your Dyn DNS account domain name. So since we now got our settings in our app, we can click on the Start Pairing button. The status will now saying pairing. If we now open up the app on our smart device, you'll now notice that it's connected. We can click the Save button and it will come up saying connected as the status. It will give you the IP address that it's used to connect to the eGateway and also the device's MAC address as well. If we now go to the unit pairing screen, you will then find that we've got our outdoor phone that we've got connected and also our iPad. If we've got another device, we can click on Add and add that device just like we did with the iPad.